Hello, welcome to Revelator John again on YouTube. Just been out about on the bike again for today's rides and catching all the videos for those. So they'll be uploaded this evening. Just wanted to say though, but today has been a bit of a bloody disaster. I gotta say, all the routes that I'd planned on the Ordnance Survey maps, either a few snippets of byways or tracks, a lot of them just turned out to be either restricted byways or private roads or private estates that I just couldn't get on. So I'd get halfway down and then the road would be blocked. So it was an absolute bloody nightmare today. So it was one of those things, might as well just bin the day, just go back home. Anyway, so on my way back, riding along, and I just came across this little back lane, and a little off it was a little byway I noticed on the OS map, and I hadn't clocked it before because it was kind of obscured by overhead power lines or something, so on the mapping wasn't quite clear. But anyway, so I thought, oh right, I'll go down there, go and film it. Well, I was debating whether to actually upload it or not, because what happened was I was going to go really, really slowly, and it was like a kind of a clay-ish soil, really, really slippery. Although we haven't had rain for a couple of days, my front wheel and my back wheel was just slipping all over the place. I was at a sort of cocked at a 45-degree angle, and the back wheel was just spinning out completely. Even though I had the off-road settings on the bike, that's the Triumph Explorer, that is XCA. It was just spinning out completely. There was a huge ditch on the right-hand side, and I thought, well, don't want to get too close to that, because the way this back wheel and front wheel slipping, I could easily just, if I have to put my foot down for whatever reason, my foot could slip out easy and I could go down there. So I tried to get into the middle of the track, and today I tried to stay out of the rut a little bit. You'll see it on video, and just one thing led to another, and basically the bike got dropped. So it was one of those bikes, you didn't actually come off the bike. It was that the front tire, if you can imagine, it was cocked at an angle, and then it just started slipping out like that. The back wheel at the same time started slipping like that. So basically just made the bike want to tip over. So I put my feet down. Well, actually I had my feet down at the time because I could see it was quite precarious. And it was just going and going and going, and then I lost the footing. Lost because it was really muddy, really sort of not slimy, but just kind of just that wet clay sort of soil, and the footing went there. I was trying to hold it with all my might, and it just went and basically just rested the bike on its side, and eventually I think it just conked out the bike. So then it was like, oh fuck, and I wasn't really, I pretty much knew I hadn't damaged the bike. That wasn't my concern. It was more about trying to get this bike up. So I suppose this is the purpose of this video really, is to admit that, hey, I came off my bike, woohoo, and I'm going to put the video up and I'm going to show it. I haven't even looked at the footage yet, so I won't edit it. I'm just going to show it as it is and make up your minds. But I think there's some good pointers here for anybody. If you're going to go off-road, the chances are at some point, if you do it a lot like I do, you may come off your bike. But the way you don't have an injury, essentially, is that you just go really, really slowly. And now, obviously, I'm doing it in a kind of extreme way because I'm just doing it with road tyres. So if I had knobbly tyres on today, that wouldn't have happened, because I would have been able to grip and it would have been fine. So go really, really slowly. So even if you do come off, you're not going to hurt yourself, and the chances are you won't even damage the bike. It will be a very, very minor scrape or something like that. So the other thing to note is about picking up your bike. Now, and this is why I always say about actually the best bikes to go off-roading are lighter bikes. if you're going to go for an enduro and off-roady type bike, a 250, 400 max, something that's light, you can just fling about and lift up really easily as well. So the big challenge, I'm not sure whether you're going to hear my grunting on the video or whatever, but I was struggling to pick this, big heavy adventure bike up, and not so much the weight of the bike, which is really heavy. It's 286 kilos, so that's something you have to hoik up. But there's lots of videos on YouTube which you can go and check out, and how to pick up your bike and all that kind of stuff. Quite a few different ways. I think for the off-roady way, the best way is just to lock the handlebars and just hoik it up like that. That tends to work out better. The problem is that as I was lifting it up, because it was so muddy, the wheels, and because they're road tires, they weren't digging into the mud, and they were just sliding. So I was basically just pushing the bike over like this. Then my feet couldn't get any grip either on my boots, and I'm wearing hobnail boots as well, so they got good chunky tread on them. So for a couple of seconds there, I thought, I'm not going to be able to lift this up. But eventually, bit of brute strength and determination and bloody mindedness, I managed to hook it up. So, and then I just carried on, but I was struggling the whole way. Once I got back on the bike, started up again, then I had a fault with the traction control, and then the rear wheel was just slipping out everywhere, and I just couldn't get any traction. I was virtually having to walk the bike, push it as I was sat on it, just to get it feeding along. So I think, I'm not sure it was really, really deceiving conditions today that actually got me to where I was, in the situation where I was. But I think the second part of the ride, very short byway this was, it wasn't a long miles and miles, it was a few hundred meters max. And I think the second part was because I had the traction control issue as opposed to the actual bike itself. But once I got to the other end, I switched the engine off, switched off the ignition, rebooted the thing, it kind of reset itself. It's fine. I think I picked up another nail in the back tyre. So when I was washing it down when I got back, it was probably the worst I've had in about 6 months of getting this mud off. It was just clay, horrible, sticky stuff. And that's pretty much the reason why it came off. But anyway, so I thought I'd let you know. Watch the video, see what you think. You do come off your bike and you think, bastard. You think, oh fucking hell. What have I done? And you're angry and pissed off that you come off your bike. But also you think, oh fucking, why do you have to come off? But again, that's why I always say, always be prepared to come off. You don't be scared of coming off, but don't go fast that you're going to hurt yourself. If it is, you're literally just dropping the bike down, or as I did it today, it wasn't even a drop. It's more like I'm going to rest the bike here because I haven't got the strength to hold it. That kind of thing. That's what you want to aim for, and then you can literally again just pick the bike up and just carry on. And that's what I did. So always bearing in mind, especially when you're off-roading, the chances are, if you're like me, you're going to be by yourself and you're going to be isolated, and people might not be able to get to you, or if you're stuck behind you, underneath your bike, whatever, it's going to be really tough. So you've got to be ready to get yourself out of a situation, and the whole point of the exercise is to enjoy it, go off-roading, and all that kind of stuff, but to get to the end. You need to be able to get to the end and carry on your journey to get home or wherever you're going to go. So always bear that in mind. Don't be hooning around, and always take it really slowly, especially if this is your first time out there. As I said, if you're going to go on a bike with road tires on it, I would say, yeah, definitely go for it. There's no reason why you can't go on byways and tracks without just running road tires. But bearing this in mind, that if it's kind of wet in any kind of way, your tyres will slip out. So you've got to go really slowly. You've got to crawl along, so a lot on the clutch, a lot on the back brake. But when it's dry in the summertime, the spring, summertime, there shouldn't be much issues there at all. But anyway, so I got on the bike, had an off. I wouldn't really call it an off. It was more of a fuck up, really. But anyway, so film routes tomorrow to do. And I'll see about the puncture and the back tyre first of all, and we've got a few more videos coming up next week as well. There's might be one coming up over the weekend. I don't know if I'm going on it yet. It's like the Guinness World Record toy run. Well, it was a couple of years ago, the Guinness World Record, so they get about a few thousand bikes going on that. So we'll see if I don't get to do that. And then next week possibly might be doing a bit of filming in London, and around doing a few routes that I've found and stuff like that. So I'll see how it goes. There's a couple of landmarks I just want to go and film and check out and stuff. So we'll see how that pans out. But it's the video diary for today. It is, what's the date? It is the 5th of December 2017. Yeah, bit of a fucker of a day. There we go. Alright, see ya.